Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more Steel Ball Run manga reviews, you guys. We are covering a little bit of a smaller batch today. We had a bigger batch last time, and God, did we have a lot going on in that batch. There's a reason for it being bigger. But today, just kind of like even things out, we're going to be doing 77 through 80, which is actually kind of a good, I don't know, it does end a little bit on a cliffhanger. I was kind of debating whether it was the right thing to do or if I should like try to cover 81, but like, I don't know, there's just something about it in my brain that like feels so uneven if I don't just keep it in the little batches of 5, or mostly each time batches of 5. Then I was like, you know what, it's fine. Like, I don't even know, not being a first-time reader of it, I don't know when it's going to be resolved, so I could read the chapter ahead and still not get anywhere, you know what I mean? But just know that it is going to end on kind of a cliffhanger today. Little bit frustrating. I have not read ahead. I, in general, try not to read ahead of where I'm reviewing, because I don't want to get confused in my mind and be like, oh, no, wait, that's for like next, you know what I mean? Like, you're literally just seeing everything I know up to this point. So, we have a lot to get into, you guys. So before I do all of that, I do just want to say if you're joining me early today, you know just what that means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so very much. And as always, I'm sending you up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still, thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in that description down below. If you are joining me on the YouTubes, I really hope you'll hit like and also subscribe for me. That does help me, my channel, a whole lot. So thank you in advance for that. All right, guys. So today's batch is mostly about Valentine's stand. It's going to be a lot of actiony action, a lot of bizarre. We're not sparing anything with the bizarre. Never worry. You never have to tune into one of these and be like, is it really going to be that bizarre today? You never have to ask yourself that question, ever. Guaranteed. Araki has seen to it. So a couple things I wanted to point out from last time before we get started on chapter 77. I did ask a lot of questions in the last one because we had, of course, the whole Diego death chapter, which was just so by surprise, and like, I don't know, it still just felt so fast, and like, he's such a huge character, and I know in this universe he was, you know, I get the importance he was given in relation to other characters. I get that he was not actually like Dio, who dominated as a villain so many parts of the original universe. I understand that. However, it's still just jarring to me just to have Dio like dead. Like, it just kind of feels like, I mean, he's really dead though. Like, I don't think there's any bringing him back from being cut in half. I don't think you can flash foam that. I don't think you can zombie thread that. Like, Crazy Diamond can't even fix that because he's dead. You know what I mean? Not that we have Crazy Diamond here, but would be nice. It's funny, when I didn't know what Valentine's stand was, the first thing I was thinking is, like, he's clearly getting to another place, but, like, how is he healing himself? Like, is he getting himself to another place and there's, like, somebody in this universe that has a Crazy Diamond-like ability that's just, like, why can't I set my fingers right now? There. I don't think I ever said it because I'm like, no, that's so complicated. There's no way. Like, he'd have to rely on that person all the time. When in reality, yeah, technically speaking, there was kind of another person helping him. If you want to see it that way, that he's going and getting these other copies of himself from the other universes. But anyway, so I asked the question in the last one, would Dio have done what old universe Dio did, given the chance? You take Diego, you drop him into Phantom Blood. You know, George is super nice in the OG universe. Jonathan is, I mean, Johnny's nice. He's nice. He is. He's a good boy, Johnny. But I mean, you know, Jonathan's just like an angel. You know what I mean? Like, Johnny's, he's just guys, I mean, to be fair, if I had been compared to Diego my whole life, I probably would have been like, as well. And there was a little thing, he may have killed an elderly wife. We don't know. We'll never know. He's with her now, if you want to look at it that way. Anywho, I think, generally speaking, what we were all kind of feeling about it is he probably would have just been cool. Like Diego. You take Diego and you drop him in a fan of blood. Is he trying to betray Jonathan? Is he trying to kill off George? Is he trying... Or is he like, I am now one of the heirs. I'm one of the brothers. I'm one of the sons. I have a ton of money at my disposal. I can become a lawyer. Like, would he have just worked really hard and become a lawyer and, like, really, like, exacted his justice, revenge for, like, what happened to his mom in a court of law where he could, make sure that people who did wrong were paying for it? Or defending people who hadn't done so, hopefully. So it doesn't always work out that way. You know what I mean, though? Like, I don't know. Like, would he have just kind of exacted his justice or revenge or whatever that way? And just worked really hard and known that, like, okay, well, I wanted to be on top. I'm on top. I have an opportunity to do something, like, really big in the world and as a worldo. And and I think you guys were kind of feeling like, yeah, maybe. It's at least possible. Whereas with Dio, nah. Like, he was, sadly... He was already too far gone, I feel like, by the time he came to the Joestars. Like, it was just too, I hate to say it's too late, because he was still a young kid and everything, but, like, I think it was. Anywho, the other thing I wanted to point out that was really funny to me, and I did not get this at all, and I'm like, oh my god, this is brilliant, was that we had that scene with Hot Pants and Diego, where Hot Pants is kind of, like, kissing him, not really, but it looks that way. And it was pointed out to me that you could see that as Hot Pants taking revenge for Erina, having had the kiss done to her without her consent, I guess. So yeah, so this time it was, it was Hot Pants. You thought the stolen kiss thing was always going to be Dio, but it was Hot Pants. So, all right, guys, I had to have a little fun there. But yeah, so for the most part, I think we were all pretty surprised by last time. I know I was. And of course, now we have, seemingly Valentine got away, and that's kind of where we resume the story. So, I've said a lot. Oh my god, I've said a ton. I'm so sorry. Chapter 77, we see that Valentine's all messed up after his fight with Dio, as he should be. I mean, seeing him get just totally wrecked like that was so good while it lasted. We see him actually use D4C to go pull a healthy Valentine out of a neighboring world. And so last time I was asking this question of, like, how, if Valentine from the main world is the only one that can be pulling people in and out of other worlds, how does a replacement Valentine do that? Well, we got that answered in this. So basically, they explain that he's been made the base one now. So now he can go in, now that he is the Valentine of the main world, he's been promoted, and now he has that ability as well. So I don't know if all the other ones had... Did they show one of them I think they did show one of them having D4C, but I don't know if it could do that. Why do I feel like we saw one of them? Maybe not. I might just be making things up. But he does now, and he can go and pull people in and out, and he's the main one now. So, he sees how the other Valentine died, and he goes back to the main world, and he's just like, Doisian, and just, he loves to say it now, you guys. Anytime he gets a chance, we're just gonna get a big old Doisian. Because why not? Because it's like his Ri. I feel like he says it a lot more than Ri, though. I feel like Ri didn't get used that often. I feel like Ri probably got, I don't know. I feel like Diego said Ri a lot. I mean, Dio said Ri a lot, but I don't feel like every other scene was him Riing. As you know, a Ri was reserved for a special occasion, you know? Whereas Doisian is just, yeah, feeling good, Doisian. Got promoted to the main world, Doisian. Why not? All right, so Johnny and Gyro can see the Atlantic Ocean. They know that they've made it almost to the end of this whole thing. And this bear sign keeps bugging Johnny. And I'm just, you know how I feel about this, because you know, my first thought was it's a stand as a bear. It's a bear, and it's just going to, it would not in any way, shape, or form be the weirdest thing we'd ever seen in this, by far. So Johnny's like, how many of those signs are there? So I'm like, oh, okay, so he's been seeing it a lot. Gyro notices it menacing, and so Johnny starts to open fire on it. So this basically the sign caught up with them. It's been moving around and following them. And they mention, I think Gyro was the one who mentions, like, there's been this weird mood this whole time, like, ever since they got to this area. So they're like, maybe there's another enemy besides, like, the president. Maybe, like, something's going on. They notice menacing fish starting to bubble in, like, water nearby. And then the fish start attacking, because of course they do. So our guys start attacking back, and Gyro hits them with a ball, but not before one of them bites his finger. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. So they have no clue what's going on, but they reaffirm, like, hey, we need to get to Lucy. We need to get going. So Gyro asks Johnny if he got bitten, and he says no, but Gyro knows that, like, one of them bit him, like Gyro. So, yeah. I've seen enough zombie and vampire stuff to know that's not good. Even though this is a zombie and vampire, which is interesting because that's kind of where we started in the old world. Where we started with vampires and the like. So meanwhile, Hot Pants, who is actually still around, finds Lucy and sees the state she's in and starts to notice that things are moving on the train, like bugs, glasses, the furniture is starting to move. Also, she does mention she doesn't know if Dio survived the fight, which I'm like, it's going to be a rough one to find out. So the furniture is drawing together, but she realizes that it's even more than that. Even the door of the train is getting closer to her. So Valentine shows up, asks her whose ability she thinks is doing this, and then points the fingers on her right hand. And they're growing like nails but not out of the part they should be. And one of the bugs looks like it's like merged with it. It's very strange. So he says something's been set into motion and it's not someone else's ability. So glass shards, pieces of wood, all these things are like starting to stick out of her. It's very, very bizarre. I had no idea what was happening at this point. It will make sense later. So at the same time, Johnny and Gyro are putting it together that it's not the sign, it's the actual piece of land. The entire piece of land is now following them. It's like being attracted to them. It's like narrowing in. So we realize that now the window frame is starting to merge with Hot Pants. Like all these things are like absorbing into her. So Valentine says everything is converging with Lucy as the center. And she's drawing all this to her. So this is due to the corpse, which means that this ability is, of course, his ally, Finn. Finn, chapter 77. So they don't come out and say here, but this is all kind of going towards his stand, basically. So at this point, when I was so confused when I first read this, because all I know is that, like, things are sticking to and out of Hot Pants. There's a bear sign, and, like, Lucy looks terrible at this point. Lucy's like, she looks like a stained glass, three-dimensional statue if it was made out of wood, is the only way I can think to, like, to show, like, she is she's not okay. She's not all right. And at this point, I'm just like, this feels like, I don't know. I feel like it is gonna get a little bit better, but we seriously need a win after everything. After Diego, after Lucy just being in such bad shape, after it's, you know, Valentine's just kind of, you can't hurt him. You know what I mean? Like, even when you hurt him, you can't hurt him. Literally, your only chance would be to, you know what could get him? You guys are gonna laugh. Killer Queen. Killer Queen could take him out. No time. No time to go pull another one. No time to do nothing. Killer Queen. Does nobody here has a Killer Queen-like ability? It's too bad, because, like, Diego was right. Instant death is literally the only thing we could really rely on right now. If he is dying, if he has a mortal wound, if there is 3 seconds left of his life, he will find a way around this. And now it would seem that there's an even new ability taking shape now that all the parts of the corpse are present. So, and that is basically that Lucy's just drawing everything towards her. It does get worse. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, you guys. I'm just warning you right now. Like, I feel like we are working towards a big epic moment. But, yeah, we're going to get dragged through the mud. I mean, not like, nobody, well, I don't even know, maybe I shouldn't even say it, that, like, you know, we're not going to lose anyone in these chapters or something. Because I don't want to, like, spoil it for those of you who are just, like, reading along, kind of. But for those of you who know, then, yeah, they're not those chapters. This is literally kind of, like, going through how this new ability works. And it's very action-y. And there is some other really good stuff in it, too. There's some really good moments. So, all right, guys, moving on to chapter 78. Valentine is saying he didn't quite understand at first, but now he does. And there's just this light, like, all-encompassing him. He's glowing. Like, he is definitely powered up. And you're going to see this, like, light around him throughout. And you just know, like, this, he's got, like, you know how, like, in a video game when you, like, get that special something, you just power up and you just, like, you become real big or you become invincible or you become... It's like that, basically. So apparently he can enter inside a gap in space and move around in it. The quote is, I just quoted this right from because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to paraphrase this as well as they say it. With Lucy as the center, a flat gap in space has formed. Now, the first thing I thought of when I read that was, can't Johnny enter infinity and move around? Like, we've established that that's something he can do, because that kind of sounds an awful lot like a gap in space, you know? I know it's not the same thing, but, like, does it not sound like slightly similar? And I'm wondering if maybe that's going to come back into play, because we haven't done anything with the whole moving around in infinity thing. And when was the last time he did it? We were fighting oh, I'm not going to remember. The one with the Civil War. Was it called Civil War? Was the stand called Civil War? Or the guy was... You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's going to take me a while of, like... I'm not quite there with Steel Ball Run. I haven't, like, memorized it the way that I've memorized many other, you know, stands and fights and everything in the series, because I've only read through it once so far. Anywho, but it was a Civil War arc. What was it? I'm not even going to look it up. It's okay. You all know what I mean. So anyway, he can see that land is drawing closer together, and he realizes that it's not exactly the corpse, but that the corpse has made D4C evolve. So what we have here is we have another kind of a power-up of D4C. Johnny and Gyro make it to the train and see that the engineer's hands and feet are sticking out of a wall and stuck on the, like, the handle. I think it's a brake handle thing. They just call it a handle. But anyways, he's, like, stuck to it. Johnny realizes that he's actually stuck in a mirror and that Valentine did this to him. And Gyro's like, what is that bound to him with a rope inside the mirror? And what we see is like another person inside that looks like the same guy. Like basically it's like a copy. So we kind of see where this is going. Gyro starts questioning the person, but Johnny's trying to explain like, no, this is what D4C does. The engineer explains that he can't let go or he'll die. He says he messed up once and he lost one of his legs already. So Gyro's putting it together that the one inside the mirror is him from another world, and he's just still like, I can't believe, like, you know, Gyro's seen some stuff at this point, but like, yeah, we're really getting very far away from even what, you know what I mean? Like, even the stuff we were doing at the beginning felt so much more grounded than this, you know? So the guy's saying, please help me. I lost a bunch of fingers already. And it's really awful. And he's like, please help me. I make $20 a week. Why did this have to happen to me? And it's like, oh, bro, you just talking about the wrong place at the wrong time. So Gyro's like, I'm going to give it to you straight. I don't think there's anything that we can do. And I'm just like, oh, Gyro, no, our Gyro, he's not a superhero, you guys. He's just here to do what he's doing. So Gyro's like almost sort of impressed at how Valentine set this up to like keep the train moving. And the guy's just like, come on, don't be impressed. Like, I'm dying over here. Like, this poor guy. I like, he literally didn't do any, like, he's just a conductor or something, or engineer. So meanwhile, Johnny catches up with Valentine and they're about to face off. Like they're having like the old West like showdown with this. We got faces. You know how Araki has loved his faces this whole part. It's literally a face off. So Valentine has Lucy in his arms and Johnny just has like the fire and it's a blue flame, you guys. He's got it in his eyes. It's there. And Johnny starts firing, but Valentine is like, huh? Why is he firing at Lucy? And the bullets start moving from Lucy to the wall, to the chair that Valentine is now sitting in, and right between his legs. Like, right. Getting up close and personal, you guys. Between his legs. I gotta tell you, after watching him creep on this girl so much, I'm like, go, bullet, go. Take out the whole package for all I can. Like, go right ahead. It serves him right.
He doesn't deserve you. If he doesn't treat you right by now, you're gone. I'm gone. Now go chop his dick.
But, of course, Valentine catches the bullet between a folded newspaper at the last second. And then he's just, guess what he says, you guys? Guess what he says? He's like, Dojan! It is kind of fun to say, I have to say. I hate him, but like it is rather fun to just exclaim. But the holes come back and start hitting his hands. And he can't believe it because he did his thing. He got him between two things and he sent him to another world. But then the light starts glowing around him again. And he gets glimpses of these other people outside the train like getting shot at. And Johnny's just like, what? And I was just like, what as well? I'm like, what is happening? Because first bullets came back and now like but he's not taking damage. He realizes the wounds on his hands, which I have to say, I'm sure it's no coincidence that they're also kind of near like where the wounds of Jesus would have been from being crucified, have gone away. And then he thinks back to when Hot Pants was taking all that damage earlier. These things are starting to kind of come together. So he calls Lucy his goddess, and he says that this is reality. Basically, for all good things, there's a bad thing that happens, and everything balances out. So he figures out that basically the gap is filtering damage and making it so that any harm directed at him gets diverted to somebody else. So he starts going off about the napkin. This is the napkin. He's getting all excited, saying, I've taken the napkin. Him and the napkin. Yeah. So he likes that napkin more than he liked his own wife. He's all about the napkin, you guys. So Johnny can't figure out where his bullets went. But meanwhile, Gyro's fish bite is really starting to bother him. And I'm like, I don't like that. After that big thing that we had, the major waving of the death flags last time, and we have Gyro get some kind of weird wound. Nuh-uh. Not happening. I won't accept it. I will send it back and request something else in its stead. So the bite starts moving up his arm, and it takes a big chunk out of Gyro's neck. Meanwhile, Valentine is glowing, and he goes outside to face Johnny and Gyro. Finn to chapter 78. So now we're starting to see a little bit more of what's happening. You know, last time we were seeing like random damage being done, a light glowing around him. We knew something was going on, but it's one of those things where like we couldn't quite piece it together yet. Here we're starting to be able to piece together that any damage done to him is being taken by somebody else. And that basically, you know, this gap in space is filtering out all this damage so that he remains unharmed. So this is now even worse than what we had before, because before we at least had a snowball's chance, right? It like doing damage to him. Will he make it in time to go and get another copy of himself, or won't he? We had that. We don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore. He's not taking damage. He's not taking damage. So, things really just went from bad to worse. Other than that, that's pretty much what we dealt with in this one. Like I said, excuse me, these are very action-y chapters, very like discovering the evolution in D4C. And that's basically what we did in this chapter. So, oh yeah, and Gyro got that weird bite. I think that happened last chapter, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened last chapter, but here we're getting like the effects of the bite. And the bite is kind of moving the way that Johnny's bullets move, which by the way, that was, I mean, they gave me a cool breeze in hell in this one, at least, with getting to see Johnny almost take out his, you know, area. Oh man. And I was impressed because like the bullets came back, like he could not just send them somewhere else. Like I was like, wow, okay. I think that's the first time we've seen that, and money are like the only things you can't bring into the other world, apparently. Like Johnny's bullets and money. But yeah, of course he's powered up. Of course he's powered up. Because of course he is. So that's pretty much it for chapter 78. Yeah, again, like this is probably going to be one of my shorter reviews, which I actually have not had in a really long time, because there's constantly been like stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff, and it's layered, detailed, super like, and here we're getting, like you could tell, we're in the kind of like climax of the story. We're getting like action, and it's definitely important stuff happening, but it's like very, and just like, I want you to like look at some of the screenshots. I want you to look at all the screenshots actually, because Leonie is working super hard putting them in. Thank you. But I want you to look and just see how beautiful like everything is looking, because even though these are action panels, like just everything looks gorgeous. Everything looks absolutely amazing. And the faces still look, you know, we've sacrificed no quality in exchange for having things pick up pace. Essentially. In fact, I think they somehow look even prettier now because excuse me, he's using a lot of like light. I don't know how to put it. Like, I don't know. I feel like the use of light indicates it's some kind of painting, but like, I hope you know what I mean with like, just like the glowing effect, and it looks really good. So that's pretty much all I got for chapter 78. Chapter 79, Gyro is dying, basically, for like the 20th time this part. The only reason I'm worried is because we're literally just in the last handful of chapters. And he's figuring this must be Valentine. He sees Johnny and Valentine, and he sees this bright, you know, everyone sees this bright golden light, and Valentine is just jumping off the train after Johnny. So Johnny doesn't even know how he's doing it, because he's literally walking on nothing right now. Like, he's walking on sunshine, literally. That's all he's got is just a glow. And he sees he's about to attack, and so Johnny starts firing. So we see the shots get taken by somebody else in another place. And he's like, yep, there's someone taking that attack in my place. And I'm like, awesome. So we're just hurting, like, I'm assuming innocent people. They don't show an awful lot of detail about what's happening to him, but they do mention something at one point that I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. So Johnny figures out about the gap, and then it must be sucking in the now bullets and taking them somewhere else. So Johnny realizes the force is moving closer to him and he's in danger of being caught between the two. And he also figures out that the corpse must have upgraded Valentine's stance. So we're just kind of all catching up with what's going on. So D4C is attacking Johnny from behind when Gyro rides up and throws a ball at its hand to stop it, which is really satisfying. Nice assist from Gyro. Johnny fires off again, but this time he can see into the gap and he can see where other people are taking the bullets instead. And Valentine actually mentions, like, that there were children that took them. Like, this guy has he's just so gone on himself. I don't think he was ever not gone on himself. It's just now he's, like, really just kind of can really, like, revel in it. So, yeah. So, it's not... It's definitely, like, some innocent people just to... So, whenever we attack, just keep that in mind that, like... Yeah. Awesome. So D4C goes to attack Gyro, and Gyro gets, like, another scratch, I think? Like, I don't know. Some of the action panels are a little bit hard for me to decipher at this point, so if I get something wrong, just go ahead and pop in and be like, nah, it's not what happened. But I think he gets another scratch, and... Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he did get another scratch, actually, at this point, knowing what happens later. So Valentine is just wrecking them, and he has this golden glow, and everything sucks. And, but it's pretty awesome. And the scratch, yeah, he did get a scratch, sorry. The scratch is moving up on Gyro again like it did before. D4C is going right for Johnny, but he fires at the train. And he bends, it's so cool. It's like this, like, I mean, this really looked like some action movie. Like, he bends backwards so much and avoids the attack. And the train is, like, menacing. And I can't tell for sure what's happening here. Like, at first I was like, is it stopping? Is the train still going? Like, what's happening? But basically, Gyro's in trouble. The wound is not stopping. It's still climbing. He's falling off his horse. He's coughing up blood. Johnny's freaking out and remembering, like, all of the trauma of his past. Like, his brother, what his dad said to him about the wrong son. All this stuff, and he's just I hate it when Johnny falls, but I really do. Because, like, at this point especially, it's like, we have no win in sight. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a part of my heart that breaks when his heart breaks. He's crying, and he's saying that just when he thinks he's conquered something, another problem pops up. And he was like, I was so sure I could make my legs move. There's nothing I can do to him now. He just repels damage. He's like, he's in God. I mean, for lack of a better term, I know we're dealing with Jesus and everything, but, like, he's in God mode. So, or is he? You know what I mean? Because, like, you know, that's always when we're about to pull something out. So he's like, he's got the corpse on the side, and he says something really, really interesting. Because he's like, right now, he is justice, and we're the bad guys. You know, like, anyone looking at this, it's so messed up because supposedly the corpse is on his side, you know, like, all of this, like, everything that we kind of thought stood for good and all that, it just seems like he's come in and he's just made it his own. And they're the villains of the story. And you know what I mean? Like, in that, if you're looking at it that way. And it's just so discouraging. It's so discouraging. So we're in our empire right now, you guys. We're in a bad place. Okay, and you know what happens when Johnny's in a bad place, don't you? That's when it's time for Gyro to come in and do his thing. And that's just what he does. So Gyro starts to get up, even though he's, like, dying. And he asks Johnny if he remembers what he told him about the stirrups and that special rotation, right? And I'm like, oh, here we go. So he says, guess what? Just now, I think I used it. And I'm like, what? So Johnny's like, it doesn't matter anyway. Because of that gap, we can't do anything. Even with that rotation, we're, like, powerless. So Gyro says he saw it, and he couldn't believe it either. Like, he felt the despair. He saw what Johnny saw. Like, he knows how cooked they are. But on the other hand, he picks up his ball, and there's a curly blonde hair on it, you guys. And I think we know who that belongs to. He says he didn't aim at his head, but he got one of his hairs somehow. So Gyro's explaining that the knights in the Middle Ages that he had told Johnny about before were fighting other knights. And what if that rotation was what they used to get through their defenses? So Johnny's like, what are you getting at? And Gyro's like, look, all I have is the result. This little curly blonde hair. And so they see the train menacing up ahead, and Gyro says again that, like, Lucy's right there. We gotta go get her. Finn to chapter 79. Yeah, this one's just like, this is one of the ones that just made me feel like, I'm like, we just need a win. We just need literally anything. Like, just give me a little bit of manna from heaven here. Like, we're just in such a bad spot. And you know what? We've been in bad spots before. And it's always when, like, Jesus shows up and gives a power up. Like, it's gonna be okay. I know it's gonna be okay. It's like, somehow it's gonna be okay. But, you know, I'm also worried because, like, we are in the end game now. You know, the next chapter is chapter 80. And we have 95 total chapters. So, assuming that, like, the last 10 are just the big final fight and maybe, like, a slight epilogue, we don't have much longer to go in terms of power-ups, but also, like, if they were going to do something, they're going to do it now. You know what I mean? If stuff's going to get really, really real, this is going to be the time for it. When we don't have to necessarily somehow, like, draw it back enough to be able to tell the rest of the story. You know what I mean? So, thank God for Gyro. I know he's a complicated man. I know he's not always super good, cuddly. Kind of. I mean, he is kind of cuddly. He loves teddy bears. I'd cuddle him. For sure cuddle him. Are you kidding me? Anywho, won't get into that. We'll be here all day. But, like, I just love that, like, when Johnny is just, like, in despair. And I noticed that Johnny was like, I can't do it. And I don't know if you remember that way, way, way back when we had, like, the lesson. Which was it, lesson 4? Or I can't remember. Like, I don't think he was keeping count. He just made up a random number. But he was like, you're going to say, I can't do it this many times. And that's when you're going to get it. Like, just when Johnny's, like, at the end of his rope, that's when Gyro always shows up. And he's like, guess what? I gotta power up, I gotta way out, I gotta, like, and he's just, I don't know, he's just always, like, doing that for us. I just love him for it, and I'm super worried. I don't like this bite thing. I don't like any of it. I don't like the death flag last time, and I'm just trying to keep up hope, because I also feel like, well, it won't be exactly what you would expect, you know what I mean? Like, that's possible. But we're not, we've kind of taken a lot of people out at this point, you guys. Like, who's left? Hot Pants. Oh, God. I hope Hot Pants is okay. I hope Hot Pants is alright. She just wanted redemption. You know what, though? I could totally see her, like, doing something to help them get the corpse and, like, dying to do it and being like, I had my redemption. I've pleased Jesus now because, like, I made sure I did my part to, like, get this corpse back in the right hands, or at least any other hands. I don't know. Anyway, let's stop talking about people dying. It's gonna make me upset and I'm gonna cry. Yeah, this is a really good one. So basically he's just diverting all of the damage. He's diverting it to innocent people. They're taking all of his damage now. It's like, it's very, I know we're not all here for totally unselfish reasons, if you want to put it that way. Like, technically Gyro's here to save Marco, the little boy, but I think he also genuinely wants to understand, like, why would somebody have to die if they didn't have to, you know? Like, in a way, he is seeking, like, his own understanding, and Johnny is seeking his own purpose and understanding and healing, and, but there's something just really, like, the fact that Valentine is not even taking his own, there's something very, like, cowardly about the way that his whole power operates in the first place. And don't get me wrong, D4C is a really cool power. Like, just on paper, like, that is a cool power to have. Like, it's very OP. But there's always been something a little bit, like, kind of, I don't know, like, I guess a little bit cowardly about it. It's, am I wrong that, like, he could just switch out and, you know, she doesn't have to worry about taking damage. She doesn't have to really worry all that much about being a good fighter or anything like that. He just always kind of has someone ready to, you know, come in and take the, just take it all on for him. And that's kind of what he's doing now, only now he doesn't even have to suffer for it. He doesn't even have to experience dying and get another one up in there. You know what I mean? Like, he's making other people do it now. The whole thing really sucks. And it's very villainy. It's very villainy that, like, he's just making everyone else take his suffering and everything. I don't know. It's very opposite of what Jesus did, who took all of the sin and everything on himself and died for it. It's literally like the opposite of that. So I don't know if maybe that was an intention of, or if, I don't know. I might just be reading too much into it. Maybe it's not that deep. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Thank God for Gyro. It's probably like the 5th time today I've said that. It's just kind of a daily sentiment in my household. So all right, guys, chapter 80. Oh my God, it's going to be such a short batch. So weird. Chapter 80, let's go. So Gyro says that the only way to do this, right, this rotation with the stirrups and everything, is with the golden rectangle. Makes sense, right? So he says what you have to do is you have to make the horse run in that form. You have to make it run in a way that it naturally does when it's happy, like just kind of freely. Like the difference between taking your dog for a walk on a leash or like letting them zoom in your yard, you know, like it has to be like from a natural place of like of happiness and freedom, you know. I don't know. It's so he says it's like you're thanking your horse for being there, and I'm like, oh, so nice. You're so nice to your horse, Gyro. I love you. So we should all be as loved as Valkyrie is loved by Gyro. So Valkyrie sees Johnny and Valkyrie. Oh my God. I have V written in here for Valentine because it's shorthand, and I literally just said Valkyrie instead of Valentine. Now, I wish this was a story all like from Valkyrie's perspective. I think that would be amazing. Personally, I think there should have been like a chapter that was just from the horse's perspective. I think that would have been really, really funny. They would have been like, huh? These humans are crazy. What are they doing? And they'd be right. So Valentine sees Johnny and Gyro riding up to the train and wonders, like, why are they even bothering? They know they can't win. It's such a villainy thing to say. It's like, just shut up. You're such a villain. So meanwhile, Lucy can't breathe and she's suffering. And Valentine's like, oh, that's right. You're going to die soon and you'll be my goddess and I'll build you a shrine and blah, blah, blah. And all this just like, he's just so gone on himself at this point. I'm just like... And meanwhile, poor Lucy's literally dying. She has not gotten one break. Not even half a break in this whole entire story. And I'm done. So they're all three, like Johnny, Gyro, and Valentine, they're all staring each other down. And it's such a cool shot. Again, it feels very like Old West, like standoff, kind of like big stuff coming. So Gyro's saying, like, shoot one shot to Johnny. Once your horse has taken the form of the golden rectangle, just take the one shot, only then. So Valentine activates his stand and disappears under the train tracks. He's hiding inside the light, flat on the ground, and you just like see his visage just like comes from the train. I'm like, this is so freaky. Like we're just, oh wait, I'd say we've gone off the rails, but it's a little too on the nose with the whole train thing. Plus, like we were never on the rails. Let's be real. So they split up. Valentine goes for Johnny first. Johnny starts firing, and Gyro's like, wait, not yet. Don't. He's like, you've got to wait until it takes the form of the rectangle first. And Johnny, I'm like, Johnny, what are you doing, baby boy? Like, every time we shoot at him, like, somebody else is taking damage. So I'm just like, stop, don't do it. So Johnny keeps firing, and we see all these other people taking damage somewhere else. And Gyro's like, stop. And I was with Gyro on this one. I'm like, don't. I get it. I get being a little trigger happy in this situation, but like, please no. The trees are starting to close in on Johnny and his horse, and he knows that Valentine was like driving them to go in this direction now. So he's like, I can't go between the trees or he'll catch me. And that's when Gyro sees it. The golden rectangle has been achieved. All the parts of the horse are aligned in perfect rectangles. And Gyro's just like, Johnny, you did it. Your horse is in the golden rectangle. And he's like, now, Johnny. So Johnny starts firing and he's getting whacked with like tree branches because they're in this narrow little field. But we see the rotation and it's flowing through him. And then just as he's firing, D4C chops off his arm. You're not gonna like the next word out of my mouth, you guys. Fin. I fought myself so much on like reading the next one and just putting it in this review. And I still don't know what's going to happen next. Like, I have not read ahead. But yeah, that's it. That's our badge for today. Johnny gets his arm cut off. I mean, this was just so frustrating to me. I know somehow we're going to make this work. Like, I know this is just not, I know this is, in a way, Valentine's not wrong. This is reality. There are an awful lot of really bad people doing bad things and getting away with it, doing it in the name of good, doing it seemingly just with no karma, no retribution, no nothing, and just getting away with it, and the little guys are getting stepped on, you know? And I just like, I understand that, but I just know that we're building up to something great. And when I saw that we were building up to this whole, like, golden rotation, I mean, think of all the times in the past when we've had this new power, this new, anything done with the rectangles and the rotation and all this stuff, and it's always the big F you moment to the villain. And just having it end with Johnny just getting his arm taken off was the biggest slap in my face. And like I said, I really thought about it, you guys. I'm like, we don't need to say even numbers. It does bother me a little bit, though, to not say in the, I mean, they're not even even numbers, but you know what I mean? Like the kind of more or less even batches of like 5 chapters. And I'm like, the whole point of this was to get to chapter 80 and then resume course. You know what I mean? That being said, it just about killed me. It just about killed me not to be able to know what's going to happen after we have this, like, the first little drop of water in the desert that we've had in this whole entire batch, with Johnny maybe getting a little bit of I hate to say a leg up because it's a little inappropriate considering, you know, he's here to try and heal his legs and everything, but you know what I mean? Like, finally trying to, like, get, like he said, just get to negative. Or just get to 0. He's in the negative. Just get to 0. And he gets his arm chopped off. It's just, it will make us that much more motivated next time for what happens. Because I know something good is coming. So, yeah. Don't forget, you guys, Jesus suffered. You know, if we can compare this to Jesus in any way, it's that Jesus suffered a lot before all the like, the dying, the resurrecting, and all the, yeah. So maybe that's the parallel here, is that Johnny's just suffered a lot, you guys. He's suffered a whole bunch. I'm ready for him not to. And same with Gyro, you know? I mean, he's, like I said, this was like, this bug bite thing was like the 80th time this part he's been dying. Like, if it's not Steel Ball Run, if somebody's not shot 8 million times and bleeding out, or has an artery cut, or so, you know what I mean? Like, must be a Tuesday. All right, so that was 77 through 80. Basically, this batch just took us a lot through the power-up for D4C, which I gotta say is pretty amazing. And I thought D4C was pretty OP to begin with because, like I said, you never really have to worry. You know, as long as you are breathing, you constantly have a way out. And that's not something that you can necessarily say about every stand. I do think that it's a shame that we cannot just, like, instantly blow him up. You know what Johnny needs? Okay. I'm going to put this out into the universe right now. And if I'm right, I want everyone to pat me on the back for it. I want all of the head pats for this. You know how he can fire the bullets? What if he had one that was like a giant, like, grenade, like, just like Killer Queen, like, just took him out in a blaze of glory. Like, no time to think about it, no nothing, no time to get out. But see, now, you know what sucks right now? Is that, like, it would just go to somebody else. He would just go to somebody else. Somebody else would. Do you think if he just blew this man up completely, but it seems like it's all being diverted. Like, it doesn't seem like it matters what kind of damage it is. You know what I mean? he'd just be fine and somebody else somewhere else would get blown up. That's what sucks. Is like we actually did almost have a snowball's chance before he got this power up. So I don't know our way out of this. The rotation thing would have been amazing if he had not gotten his. That being said, though, I mean, Joseph won with his arm taken off. Johnny can do it too, you know. He's gonna join the arm club. Oh my goodness. I gotta think this is going to. They get to Lucy. They somehow get control of the corpse. And I'm guessing probably Johnny gets the power to just have everything nullified against him and just blips Valentine out of existence. If Valentine did not have this power, I would say the thing about the explosion. Because I'm like, that would be a really good way to just take him out with no chance of him switching or doing it. But now, like, we don't even have to switch now. The switching is a moot point now. Like, we're preemptively, like, we don't even have to, it doesn't even hit him. He's invincible. He seems invincible. Let's put it that way. If JoJo's has taught me anything, it's that none of these are airtight. No stand is airtight because it's just, there's no, I mean, yeah, some of them are, like, pretty much impossible to beat, but I don't think any of them are truly, like, there is no way around it. There's no way out of it. You know what I mean? I mean, even, like, some of the strongest stands, like, look at Star Platinum. Look at Zawoldo. You know, when Star Platinum has Zawoldo, it's like, oh my god, that's, no one's gonna get around that. Well, nothing's airtight. Yeah. No, now I'm gonna start thinking about part 6 and I'm gonna have, like, trauma flashbacks. So, no, I need to wrap it up. But this is a really good one. Like I said, they dragged us through the mud, but the power-up was really, really cool. And I was so thrilled about the golden rectangle and everything. I was so happy about that. And I still am. I mean, just because he lost an arm doesn't mean he can't win. Like I said, it didn't stop Joseph, you guys. Oh, but Joseph's just, he's on another level. Oh my god, Joseph will come in with some kind of, like, Looney Tunes trickery and somehow get this done. You know he would. You know he would. I saw a hilarious meme the other day. Again, this is going to kind of refer to part 6 a little bit, so if you're part skipper, skip this part, or if you don't care, then whatever. But I saw this hilarious meme about, if Joseph had faced off with Poochie, and how basically the text in the meme was saying, like, you know that somehow it would have ended up some kind of Looney Tunes nonsense BS. And Poochie would have been, like, dying, like, some kind of cartoon death, as, like, Joseph is, like, smirking that he saved the day and everything. And it would have made no sense, but it would have been just textbook Joseph, and that would have been that would have been how Poochie went out. I don't know. It was funnier in the original meme. Someone go look up the meme. But all right, guys. We gotta keep the hope alive. That's all. We just gotta keep the hope alive. You know, Gyro is not giving up. Johnny's still up in there, even though I'm just heartbroken when he cries. But hate it when I just want to hug him. Oh, I'll leave you with something a little bit more lighthearted, okay? So this is something that I learned in the comments from the last batch. You know, the whole bug bite thing? You remember that from last time? The bug bite fetish? Guess why that was in there? According to Araki Sensei, that is in fact his own fetish. Yes. I'll leave you with that, because that's a little bit, it's not typical, but it's a little bit lighter hearted than Johnny lost his arm. So, all right, guys, that was our batch for today. I can't wait for next time. I'll start reading on it tonight, and I'm sure it's just going to be bizarre AF. So, hope you enjoyed watching, reading, looking along with me. please be sure to join me next time as we enter into the first of the last 3 batches of this entire part that I'm going to do. I will definitely need your help, so please be sure to join me next time, and we will watch it together. Bye for now, guys.